there, it's Rachel Palmieri, a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. I have been on a mission to use up lots of DSP, and mostly I've been making cards with it. But I decided that perhaps you'd like to find out a way of making these little mini gift bags with the 6x6 pieces of DSP. And I had a play round because it's been a while since I'd made them, and I wanted to make sure I could still do it. And so I've made up a couple of versions using the all dressed up paper, which is retired now, but so good. And I meant to actually grab some little toiletries to show you how nicely they fit into these, so that if you were giving nail polish or lipsticks or perhaps some of those small bottles of toiletries that you can get, they fit beautifully in here. I'll show you with see, there's one of our Tombos, and if you're a crafter I think you'd know the size of that. So that fits in like that. Now, I haven't actually put any way of closing this on this one. You could punch a hole and tie a ribbon through it, as I have on this one. This one I actually forgot to turn over the top before I had I went too far with my sealing up the sides, and I couldn't turn it over. And even this one I've had a little bit of trouble as I've done it. So I haven't quite perfected that. I haven't quite remembered how I did that the other time. Now this is based on a design by Rhonda Wade in the States, and she did it using 12 by 12 paper. And I wanted to say another thing about these bags before I move on. I just thought, well, if you can do it with 12 by 12, surely you can do it with 6 by 6, and yes, you can. And they're quite small, but you know, they fit quite a few little bits and pieces, and you wouldn't get the width of dimensionals, but look, you'd get quite a nice little supply of little embellishments or something if you wanted to put samples in. Now, when I start cutting, I'm going to end up with a 2-inch strip left over. So for this one, I made a little card to go in that slot out of the leftover piece, and there was still another square left. With this bag, I just whipped up a very simple card using the strip, and I think that might be from Positive Thoughts, that butterfly, I'm not sure actually. And the happy birthday, which I used on the other little card as well, is from Here's a Card. So I don't think I'll be doing any stamping today. I might just try to get the bag made for you. And I haven't printed off the dimensions at the moment. I will put them on a blog, which will go up in a few hours. So by then I might have got a photograph taken of the bag and be ready to go. The papers I've used for this one are currant. I used the Flowers for Every Season, which is just such a gorgeous, gorgeous selection of papers, which I'm managing to get through quite nicely, which is what you want to do. And I chose that one because I love blues, but I also love the Just Jade that we have now. And of course you can pick it up in here, but when I turn back the top of it, it'll just have that nice little accent. So I'll start off by pulling in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to use the scoring blade, so I'll put the cutting one out of reach. And I start off, now I'm going to be scoring using this side for most of it. And I'm trying to think, I'm doing it at 1.5 inches. Now this is such an easy bag that you can memorize it. 1.5 and 1.5 after rotating 90 degrees, and 1.5 after another 90 degrees rotation, and the last one, the fourth side. Now I've been going at 1/2 inch. I think I'll try 3/4 inch. It'll make a shorter bag but a larger trim around the top of it. So 3/4 inch. Now I'm not quite sure how that's going to affect the rest of it. It's a bit scary when you start to do improvisations in the middle of a video without thinking it out. So I'll just burnish those score marks. Well, I keep on having a bit of a think about this other piece of paper. Oh, I can't pick it up. But I think that will be right. I will go with, and I'm going to use this side now. I was trying to make it close up, but it doesn't want to at the moment. 1/2 inch. I know what I forgot. I need to cut 2 inches off, so I will do it from the side that hasn't been scored. So 2 inches off. That one's scored at 1/2. The bottom one needs to be scored at 1.5. Get that cutting blade out of there. 1.5. The other side needs to be at 1/2. And the top will be 3/4 to match the other one. Okay. Now, these little pieces, which are at the bottom of the bag, that matters if you're doing a directional print. This floral print isn't so directional, but I did have trouble with the first one I made. I didn't think about which was the bottom and which was the top, and it wasn't perfect, so I had to use the floral side of that one rather than the directional print. So that's the overhangy bit. That's the sides. And the base. Alright. So I am assuming that you have tools at home, such as paper snips, a bone folder. Of course that's optional, but it does help. Tear and tape, or another very strong adhesive. Paper trimmer with a scoring blade. Now I'm taking out fully these, am I? No, I'm not taking those out. They're flaps to fold in. No, that one's going that way. Okay, so now I've got to get my tear and tape. And don't worry about that top section. I need to put it down here. So like I said, I'm still having a little bit of trouble remembering how to fold that top over without making a mess of it. I sort of ended up tearing it a little bit. I think it's something that's best left to the very last thing. I'll try and do it on camera and we'll see how we go. That's when we'll find out if I've learnt anything by making those 2 boxes yesterday. Those 2 bags, sorry, mini bags. But, you know, this is something you don't really have to buy supplies for. You can either cut your 12 by 12 paper into 6 by 6 paper as 6 by 6 squares, and using them up that way. So, you know, your retired papers that you've still got 2, that you can make 2 6 by 6 matching pieces with. Although strictly speaking it isn't, is it? It's 6 by 4 on one of them. Okay, I'm overestimating when I'm tearing this tape. So these are the square flaps that go under, and I've lost the end of my tearing tape. There you are. Winter's really set in here now. It's quite miserable outside, and it takes me all my courage to run outside to put rubbish out and things like that, because who wants to be doing that in the cold? Alright, now I'm going to try by maybe not taking all the sticky off when I take the tearing tape off. This is a take your pick tool. I find it quite handy, especially for placing rhinestones and things, but also for getting this release tape off. You know, if you weren't watching, I would do this so much easier. Just for some reason, it's proving to be a little harder. And I match up. Now I can just see the edge of my fold there, and I'm hoping that I'm matching it up down here. This is the tricky one, getting that one right. And then after that you can do it by just folding here, moving your release tape away, and folding this one over, and it should match perfectly. Now actually I may see if I can turn this now, because I have made these before and they weren't such a problem, but I don't know why I'm having such a big issue with them now. I've torn it. Darn it. That one shouldn't be a problem. See, that one turns okay, and then I tore that one there. quite embarrassing when things don't work out. Alright, looks like I'm going to have to get a lot of tape. This is not good. Alright, so with these bottom flaps, I need to get the release tape to release. Okay, holding that so the sides are square. Now I've got to put the back piece over next. The Tombow was like a finger extension then, so that I could press it down without putting my whole fist into the bag. You know, it needs some decoration now, doesn't it? So that's the back. I've done This is the in colour ribbon. I got a ribbon share from my lovely friend Catherine in South Australia, so that I could try them out before I committed to buying all of them, but I will end up getting them. I know I will. Just that at the very start of a new catalogue, it's quite expensive. Well, it's very expensive. And so if we can help each other out a little bit with samples, it is quite a good idea. It's quite funny. I started off thinking that the Misty Moonlight was my favourite colour because I always love a blue. And then I was pretty overwhelmed by Magenta Madness. And I liked, what's that one called? Cinnamon Cider. And then I started using this jade with the the greenery set. Name's slipping me at the moment, what it really is called, something close. And now I'm in love with that. So it's really only the bumblebee that I need to learn to love now. And I've ordered the sunflowers, so I think that probably once I start using them, we'll be on a winner. Now my ribbon scissors are over on the other table, so I'm hoping that I don't have a catastrophe with these paper scissors. Oh, they're not the best. I wonder if one of my others. That'll do for now. Alright, so there's another little bag. What do you think? Do you think that's a useful thing for little gifts for birthdays and for Christmas? I have so much Christmas paper, I could whip up heaps of these. In fact, I probably could do the 12 by 12 one as well. Alright, that's it for this week. Bye.